This meeting is being recorded.
Oh, what? Oh, okay. I'm on. Okay. Hello. My name is Mike Brett, and I'm going to start out today's presentation talking about the environmental master's program in the Department of Civil and Environmental Engineering at the University of Washington. And after I talk about the environmental program, Professor Nirni Kumar is going to talk about the hydrology and hydraulics program in our department.
Can you ask them to open up the chat and just make sure that they can hear us?
Yeah. Can you please open up the chat and just indicate whether you hear me or not, just so that we know that, okay, so we got thumbs up. That's good. Thank you. So like I said, my name is Mike Brett, and I just coincidentally happened to be the first person on this list of characters here in the pictures. As we've already ascertained privately before you guys got online, that's actually a fairly old picture of me. Now I'm much older. I usually walk around with one of those walkers to keep from falling down in the hallways and tripping people up. We have David Buttman, and I'll talk about the courses that are offered by each people. My research is on applied limnology, so I study lakes, rivers, and estuaries, and some of the problems that can occur in there, primarily eutrophication and lack of oxygen. David Buttman is one of the newer hires in our department. He's an assistant professor. He's been here about 4 years, maybe 5 years, and he studies the carbon cycle between the atmosphere and aquatic systems. Mike Dodd is a professor that's been here about 10 years, and he studies disinfection processes and water treatment and oxidation reduction reactions. Professor Ed Kalogi has been here about 5 years. He's been a professor for about probably 10, 12 years, and he studies the fate and transport of various environmental contaminants. Some of his higher profile stuff has been looking at what happens to pharmaceuticals that are used in animal production, like animal feedlots. Professor Korshin has been here just about as much time as me. He has a more honest picture because his is taken more recently than mine. And he studies corrosion in drinking water distribution systems. Professor Larson studies fate and transport of air pollutants, particularly wood smoke in urban and suburban environments. Julian Marshall is also an air quality person. He studies air quality, especially in developing nations, does a lot of field work in India and I think Mumbai. Professor Newman is recently promoted to recently promoted to associate professor. And Professor Newman studies arsenic, fate, and transport in subsurface systems, so groundwater systems. And she does a lot of her field work in Bangladesh. But she also studies arsenic, fate, and transport in Washington State at some contaminated sites not too far from Seattle. Professor Jessica Ray is the newest hire in our department. Her position in this department officially starts in January. She'll actually be here in about a week. We're very much looking forward to her joining us. And Professor Ray studies the degradation of contaminants in stormwater systems and stormwater treatment ponds, kind of engineered systems to remove the wastes that are generated in urban environments. Professor Stahl is kind of at the crux of retirement. He is a microbiologist, very famous microbiologist. He's actually in the National Academy of Engineering. Professor Strand is also a microbiologist. Keep on saying that wrong. And then Professor Mari Winkler is also a microbiologist. She's a somewhat newer person in our department. She's been here about 4 years, and she's a world authority on a nitrogen transformation pathway called Animox, which is a very interesting nitrogen removal pathway that's being used in drinking wastewater treatment plants, but also very important in natural systems. So that's kind of a lowdown on the faculty in the environmental group. I have here on the second slide, I have the course plan for non-thesis master students. Probably most of the people that are on the phone right now are probably interested in that, but we also have a similar course plan for the thesis track and a similar course plan for the PhD program that you can find on our department website. And this just gives some guidelines on what you need to take into consideration to complete a degree in our department. It's, minimum grade requirements, minimum requirements of graded coursework, minimum requirements for graduate coursework versus senior level coursework, minimum cumulative GPA, all that kind of stuff is specified pretty clearly here. We have a few core classes that are required of people on the water track. And so the core classes for people on the water track are microbial process fundamentals, aquatic chemistry, and environmental organic chemistry. And then we have, recommended suite of classes for the students that are interested in water. As said, we have 12 faculty in our environmental group. Of those 12 faculty, 10 of them are specializing in water-related topics, and 2 of them are specialized in air-related topics. So we have a lot more offering available for water than we do for air, but we do have recommended tracks for the 2 subject areas. As you can see here, most of the courses for the water subject area track